is an open meeting under section 19.81 to 19.98 of the Wisconsin State Statutes. With respect to the meeting minutes, we have to move forward the approval of the September meeting minutes. Because of the people in attendance for the September meeting, with all Joe, Ken, and Kate all here, we can't approve them, so. So we'll have to carry that forward and try to get those September minutes approved. But with respect to the October minutes, any need for correction? Anyone that was here? And let me just check here. All right. Anyone want a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ken,
Second?
second by Dan. All in favor of approval of October's minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Monthly staff reports.
For the most part, programming stayed status quo. September of '23 is a hair behind where we were in '22. But as expected, or as I would have hoped, Signacast Aquatic had approximately 250 more participants in the pool. And this is prior to our open swim, keep in mind. And I know Sarah sent Zach and I a message yesterday, I believe, that our open swim count for October was up. Remind me what it was. Was it
200?
200 for open swim? So with the new play feature and the changes, that's what we attribute that uptick in. So happy to report that. Memberships, again, kind of staying where we were. I've noticed the last couple months our non-residents has somewhat been status quo.
Yep.
Resident, though, is still lacking, but I know they're coming in, just being a little more at the front desk or being more aware. I know Sarah and Lauren have been taking memberships over the last week or two, more often than I remember seeing, so, yeah.
Any specific questions for Randy or staff? All right. Any communication or correspondence?
Only thing worth mentioning is we got the second half of our WTA tennis grant for the backboard. So we received that in full. That was $750. We have ordered the backboard, and I'm hoping to get that in our hands prior to the end of the year so we can make sure that that is tied to year-end financials to get that taken care of.
Okay. No appearances or public comments, no old business, new business administration. We have an executive summary for the park vendor fee.
So per our conversation last month, we had discussed an extra fee for vendors wanting to utilize the parks for for-profit events. So we put together an official executive summary. So for vendors that want to do for-profit, for a green space, $20, small shelter, $30, medium shelter, $40, and large/feature shelter, $50. So that would be a fee we would tack on to a regular rental of those facilities. This is just our way of generating more revenue. And it should be noted that this fee would be waived for any nonprofit organizations that are renting the park to raise money that will be put back into the community. So not necessarily just towards our department, but if Laps for Logan wanted to do something, they would not be charged that. You know, obviously that's a fundraiser towards a scholarship fund. So.
Any questions for Randy on the executive summary?
Randy, is there a hourly staff rate that goes along with this, with staff needed for cleanup or prep?
No, that just helps offset
Okay.
the extra time that'll be utilized by staff. And again, you know, this is somewhat tied to Centennial Park. other vendors wanted to perhaps doing for-profit, beer gardens, things of that nature, vendor fairs. So just our way of recouping some of the extra work that we may be facing.
I guess I just wanna see what kind of, next year at this time, maybe how many hourly staff is being used.
Sure.
Especially if it's on weekends, and that may include overtime.
Okay.
For you guys.
Yep.
To see what kind of impact it has on the budget.
Yep, we can definitely do that. We'll do that. And, yeah, I mean, I would say 95% of this would be overtime because it's going to be Fridays and Saturdays, Sundays type of deal, so.
Anyone else? Simple question about green space. Space is space with no regard to size.
Correct. So for instance, we had a gentleman that wanted to utilize part of the Riverwalk Trail as part of his exercise group. I don't blame him. He went about it the right way, contacted us. This is something we previously had established. I think it was like $10,
Well, that would be the rental fee of it.
the rental fee of it.
Just like
Okay.
renting a shelter, there was a rental fee for a green space too.
So, I mean, for him, that was for profit for his business. Now, granted, he could have just done it without asking us, which is I don't want to say the unfortunate part, but someone that went about it the right way. And then we would, put a charge on that. And we told him that too up front. It said, you can take the chance, but we can't promise you anything, so.
Okay. Anyone else? What's your pleasure here? You in agreement? Not in agreement? Looking for a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ken to approve staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
Sorry, help me out.
I'll second.
Second by John. Any other comments or discussion? All right, all in favor of approving staff's recommendation, say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. The winter and spring activity guides getting distributed.
Yep, that'll be coming out the weekend of November 24th with resident registration beginning on
That's 24th is a Friday, so Monday,
Monday, the 27th.
yes,
And then open registration on that Wednesday, the 29th,
yes.
for our winter spring activity guide.
All right, rec programs and activities, we have some craft classes coming up.
Yep, these are both Cheryl Burns from our taxi service puts these on. The adult Christmas countdown, that'll take place on November 15th. $35 a resident, $42.50 non-resident. And what this is a framed house, or framed to look like a house, I should say, inspired by participants' ideas, and will be utilizing transfers and chalk paint to decorate said Christmas countdown.
And the youth trio of trees.
So this one is a youth program. The first one, Countdown, was an adult. This is a youth program. It'll be November 18th. $30 for a resident, $37.50 for a non-resident. These are wooden cutouts, obviously in the shape of trees, and they'll utilize chalk paint and stencils to make this seasonal craft.
All right, and the babysitter certification class.
So we do that a couple times a year. This one will take place November 11th. It's a full-day class, 8:30 to 3:30. This is for ages 11 to 15. You usually come pretty close to filling this class, but I know there is availability for it.
And I'm waiting to hear about toddler playtime.
Toddler playtime kicked off this week. That's Mondays and Wednesdays, 9:30 to 11:30 in our gymnasium. So staff brings out equipment, toys for preschool age children to come utilize the gym. With it being cold and our parks bathrooms being closed, this is something that we offer to families to utilize. It's $3 for drop-in, but you can buy a season pass. The season goes through April. and that is $15, I believe.
Cheap.
Sarah didn't correct me, so I'm going to say it's $15.
I was looking at her too.
All right, adult and youth sports, we have a report on the Winter Adult Volleyball League.
Correct. So we are full with 16 teams. So that's 8 in our A league, 8 in our B league. I want to thank Lauren out. She had a big hand in putting together the schedule. She helped me out with that. And then gameplay will begin on Monday, and we'll run through the end of March. Or no, I'm sorry, end of February for that.
Okay. And the youth volleyball program.
That'll take place on Mondays, starting November 13th from 4:30 to 5:30. This is for ages 8 to 11. This is an intro to volleyball skills, utilizing drills, contests, and games. This will be for the second year instructed by the Hartford Volleyball Club in association with HUHS varsity coach Shannon Klink has kind of helped set this up with us too, just trying to publicize the volleyball club and getting young kids interested in playing. And this is a co-ed program.
And pick up adult basketball.
That'll begin on November 2nd, so tomorrow. It's Thursdays, 7:30, 9 o'clock in our gymnasium. It's open basketball, open to the first 30 participants, and regularly we do get 30, so it is a popular program. Back in the day, we used to run it twice a night, but we made room for pickleball. Anyway, so restroom bands are available day of at the office, so when Scott wants to come in and he wants to make sure he gets a spot, he can come in right away at 7 a.m., not earlier than that, and he can get his own wristband, but he cannot buy one for me. He can only buy one for himself. And it's $4 for residents, $5 for non-residents for pickup adult basketball.
All right, give us a report on the golf simulator.
Activity has started to pick up a little bit with the changing of the weather. Then during the month of October, we've had a handful of rentals. With that, we've been getting drop-in players as well. I've had Zach researching and information on golf leagues, and he put together a nice presentation for me yesterday. So he got us a good starting point. We won't have anything this fall yet, or this winter. Perhaps we'll do something in the late spring in the next program guide, but Zach did a good job of putting together information and gave us a starting point with that. But again, as the weather begins to snow, we expect more and more use. We did have our half-off deal that ended yesterday, so now we're back to our regular pricing of $30 and $40.
And in the month of October, how many rentals would you say you had?
I would say we had about a dozen. And that was mainly towards the back half of the month.
Sure. All right, and added agenda item here, the reindeer run.
Correct, yes. I apologize, that wasn't part of your agenda. So Reindeer Run will be taking place November 11th at 2:15. This is a 1-mile fun run that'll take place before the Christmas parade. I want to take a minute to thank we have many sponsors, but we have a main sponsor, which was Hartford Community Service, Inc., who had stepped forward with a major donation when this was still in its infancy of thought process. So they'll be the major donor with their name on the back. So again, thank you to Hartford Community Service, Inc. It's $20 per participant. For your money, you'll get a shirt. You get your choice of Santa hat or reindeer antlers. And then you also get a T-shirt, of course. And all proceeds will go to the United Way. So this is part of the city's United Way fundraiser this year. I, along with Brian Rhodes, are the co-chairs for this fundraiser for the city. So this was my portion of it. We have about, I would say, 30, 35 runners registered at this point. I expect that number to be probably well over 50. We will take day of registrations for the run. So we'll have a table set up there. The beginning of the run will be near Union Street. We'll be stationed at Allstate Insurance, right on the corner there. So you'll look for us in the red shirts. And then the race will conclude pretty much near VMAC, Veterans Memorial Aquatic. And then Go Right Way Bus Service has donated a bus that will shuttle people back up the route, up rural streets, and we'll have drop-off points at the corner of Rural and Luce, and then again at Forte Bank. So again, that's 2:15 right before the race, so you'll have plenty of time to get to your spots for the parade.
All right, we'll move on to aquatics, and nothing on vets, but talk about swim lessons at Signacast.
Yeah, so the first session of fall is finishing up today as we speak. And then starting this coming Saturday will be the start of session 2 for fall swim lessons. As of right now, there are 276 spots filled out of 294. So we have some pretty good sign-up rates going on right now. And those last spots are slowly getting filled too. So good numbers for the next session.
And we have a special Thanksgiving swim.
Yeah, so on Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, during our normal open swim from 6:30 to 8:30, we're having a $1 special where anyone who comes only has to pay $1 rather than our normal price. Friday nights have been pretty popular lately. I know last week for our pumpkin splash, we had some very good numbers for it, and the event went well. So hopefully a lot of people come for that too. The day after Thanksgiving.
All right, we'll move on to parks and park project report.
Well, the leaves finally started falling the last few weeks, so we've had staff beginning the mulching process. Spent a fair amount of time out at Independence Park, getting the ball diamonds back in shape for the Velocity softball tournament that took place. Other than that, continued to mow, and had a few more burials. Some guys are starting to take time off for hunting, but that's where the new addition has really come into play. I know Brian's mentioned in the past, but having that extra person has really helped out. So that's been going well.
Any specific questions on the reports, guys? All right, Centennial Park update.
So along with that, other thing the Parks crew did this past month, we had purchased and planted the trees and bushes at Centennial. Guys got that, worked a little overtime to take advantage of some nice weather, but I believe they were able to get everything in about probably a little over 2 days. So I'd like to thank the Volunteer for Beautiful Hartford Committee. They helped with the choices of plants and trees. They also donated some money towards those purchases. So we took some time to get that installed. As far as the park itself, today the bollard lighting was began to be installed. It had just come in. It was supposed to come in October. Came in end of October. So that lighting will be installed along the walking path. Let's see here, what else? As far as things that still need to be done other than that, some flashing is needed near the walls by the bathrooms. And then we are expecting a final walkthrough within the next week or so to officially turn the facility over to the city. We've been pushing that with the colder temperatures. We actually had some water fountains freeze up at Woodlawn Park. So that was a concern that we didn't want anything happen to the new park, of course. But if something happens before the park is turned over to us, it'll be the responsibility of the contractor. But as we was talking with staff this morning, we don't want to rely on that because we don't want anything to happen to that. So staff will be a part of the final walkthrough for a winterization of the facility. There's a lot of work that our staff needs to do and continue to do. We'll be installing the benches. We have 8 of those. The fitness kiosks need to go back in. We need to reinstall some signage. I need to make some purchases with the signage. With that, I purchased new picnic tables that were donated. There was 8 donations for those. So we're gonna save a little money on those. We're gonna buy the table frames, and then we're gonna purchase the lumber for that on our own. So it saves on shipping costs, and it just takes our time to put it together. So we'll save a little bit on that, and they will be brand-new benches still. We're just doing a little more work to put that together. With that, during the last month, I've started the planning process for the grand opening, and we're going to schedule that for Friday, May 3rd, so that will coincide with the opening of the 2024 park season. So we will host a short ceremony with ribbon cutting, and then we'll also have a Brewed Open will be there to serve beer as part of a beer garden. We'll have a food truck there, and then we'll also have music. So I plan to mimic that same kind of event 2 more times during the summer, trying to not only work out the kinks, but lay the groundwork for other organizations, city clubs, to run their own events similar to that. So with that, yeah, that's what's happening at Centennial.
Did staff install all the playground equipment and fencing and all of that?
Thank you for bringing that up. So yes, the playground is fully open. Staff, the only thing we needed to do and did on that was the wood chips.
Okay.
So we purchased that on our own and installed that. Lee Recreation did the paved path as well as the equipment itself. Wandra came in there, whoever they contracted out to, put in the fencing. We are going to eliminate, we'll call it 2 sections of the fence. Long story short, the playground had to be adjusted with how it fell within the footprint there. So one of our ADA accessible paths leads right into a fence right now. So it's probably anti-accessible. So they'll go in, they'll take that down, which is kind of nice because then we'll have extra fence pieces for future vandalism and breakage. So, great question, Todd. Thank you.
I think you guys knocked it out of the park. I really do. It is a piece of playground equipment or playground area that it looked great on paper, but seeing it there, I think you guys knocked it out of the park.
I've received nothing but positive compliments on it. I echo your sentiments. We as a staff are very excited to have it, and we're excited for the community to put it to use. I mean, there's kids playing on that playground. They were out there, what day was that? On Monday when it was bitterly cold, and there was a family out there, 2 little ones, a mom and a grandma. Just excited to be out on the playground.
I would say the same thing about the shelter. I've been part of a number of projects in my time on this commission, and you see these things way back when we started, we weren't even seeing colored drawings and all of that. So it was a little bit different back then, but we've progressed since then, and I think this is the first time where what was rendered to us as far as that shelter goes really matched up with the end result. And the end result of that shelter, in my opinion, we knocked out of the park too. So kudos to you and your staff. All right.
Can I make
Yep.
a
Go ahead,
Centennial
Ken.
Park observation? So one of the things I had just looked at, and this was, for Brian or Randy, one of the things I thought that might have value, and this is one of these things where, you do enough projects and there's just things you sort of miss, but I don't think this is a big one. I think it would be like, for May 3rd, what would be very helpful is if there was the capacity to be able to open the doors, take a pickup truck that had, so let's just say that you want a beer trailer that has taps on it, the pull behind that you can get or that they have. It'd be really nice to be able to pull that through, drop it, pull the truck out, have that, and then just put the portable bar around it. So right now, getting into there from either side, it's not too bad on the south side. On the north side, there's an area there that's sort of filled in with mulch that we might eventually want to consider just putting concrete over. And that way you could pull right through there, right? Drop a trailer, and that would have all of right? So whether you wanted tap beer or canned, or there's other products you sell that they put in there. So for the seltzers and everything, it's all right there, but you can literally just drop it in the building. And then when you come get it, just back it up with a pickup, pull it out of there, and off you go. So as you're looking at that, you might want to take a look at how it's a little tough now. It's doable. But I think with a little tweaking, that would be a nice capacity. I think for somebody like Bill, Ohm, or someone who's coming in there, you could have a really nice, quick setup if they could do that. And
Yep.
it's doable now. You just would really have to be good at maneuvering your truck in a trailer.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Ken. That's why myself and city engineer John Griffin added the little cutout there. It is tight.
Yep.
No doubt.
Okay, so we're aware of that, and that's
we're
something.
aware.
So before we get into the season, we can look at that and, kind of do some application things, drive a truck through there and
Yep.
and see how it goes with the trailer and see what you need to do. And then after that, we're golden, right? You're all set to go.
Yeah, part of it, and I did have a discussion about the mulch. Do we need that? Do we fill that in? And part of the concern was the runoff and where that all goes coming off of the roof. So that's the main reason why that mulch is there. Now, is there other ways around it? Yeah, absolutely. We can do something with a permeable paver or something like that
Yeah.
to fill that in to make that more easily to maneuver a vehicle, or even for foot traffic.
Yep.
So you're not tripping on it, because that
Yeah,
mulch
I
will
actually
eventually
think you're just
settle.
going to wind up filling that in.
Yeah, so.
So if that's what the purpose of that was, that's interesting, because I was wondering what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
that's,
yeah, I think that the mitigation of like water runoff, the trade-off to being able to have that function.
Yep.
Just, boy, right there, drop it, literally put your bar, around it and set up your POS and off you go.
yeah, I hear you.
That'd be a sweet little setup, and hopefully we can, work through that. Like I said, I could tell now it's doable. It's just, you'd have to be really good at, all right.
Yep.
at not jackknifing your trailer.
In talking with Kyle over at Brood Open, we're gonna do a walkthrough and talk about different options, and I'm sure, that's gonna be something that's brought up, so.
Good.
Yeah, it'll evolve.
Yeah, right, no, absolutely. That's one of those things, I think that's the mitigation, I think it can easily be done, we just want to get ahead of it before.
Sure.
May 3rd shows up and you said, oh geez, I just wanted the wheelless trailer in here, and it's a little tight.
Understood.
Okay.
All right, Candy Cane Park, an update there.
Yes, so we did receive the playground equipment last week. So that'll be a staff install. Obviously, and I rattled off a bunch of items that we need to do with Centennial Park yet. Also, one of the reasons why it's so beneficial to have that fourth person on the crew. So with that, our goal is to have that installed by the end of the year, but that's weather dependent. I have reached out to the Nightingale family who made the donations, John and Robert, last year. So let them know where we stood, and I was able to take a picture of, I did order the new park sign, Candy Cane Park, with a new design on front, and on the back side of it is a dedication to Robert and John's parents, is on there, and letting them know that their family donated the playground. So when that's completed, we hope to have them out, kind of do an opening for that park too, when we get to that point.
Brings us to commission requests. Anything on your mind tonight? Anything needs to be addressed?
I have a request.
Go ahead, Ken.
As fall is here and I've started to get back into the rec center and using the fitness room, I had an observation that I wanted to make, and there was a couple of them. The first one is, in the fitness room, the two air intakes that are up, they have the white screens on them. They are really dirty. I mean, they look bad. And, when you're working out, and especially if you're on, the elevated treadmills, and I'm 6'3", I'm literally 6 inches away from the top of that, from that thing. And I just think it looks bad. So I would get those replaced or vacuumed out. I would just replace them if you had a chance to, Brian. The other observation I was going to make with regard to that is, in the fitness room there, the TVs that are in there are really old, and they have cable boxes, and I have a suggestion for you, which would simply be to replace those with wireless. If you're using Spectrum, if you get a Samsung TV, you can just use the remote that comes with the TV and load the Spectrum app. The other observation I would make is I'm not even sure I would keep that subscription anymore, because if somebody has it on their phone and you have a wireless TV, they could just project what they want. Like on YouTube, there's some things I like to watch, whether they're sports shows or their fitness shows. You can just put it right on the TV yourself. I don't need the subscription to Spectrum, so someone who has their phone app can just do that. And if you want to keep it, I'm not going to die on the hill. My point would be, for I think $500 or $600, you could get 3 50-inch TVs that are wireless. Get rid of the boxes. They'd be bigger. It would look nicer. We talk about, competing with the Planet Fitnesses of the world, and some of that is just the presentation that they have, and the media that they present. And so I think that that's something that, when you're just there all the time, it's just the same thing. But I just think I would update that, and for very little money, I think that would help our cause a lot too. If we're trying to build that business back up, that would help us. And like I said, at a very minimal cost. And I think also have functions that people would like to have, which is just, if they have somebody that they want to see on YouTube or something, they can watch that rather than, just what's on Spectrum.
Yeah, as far as the TVs, this is something that Sarah and I were talking, that was this morning, that we were actually talking about that.
Yesterday.
Yesterday or this morning, that very thing, because we were able to get a box and the TV going for the simulator room as well, so that as people are golfing, they can have their sports or whatever in the background. And as we're researching, we haven't found evidence that, because we have a business account with Spectrum, that the app is available to us. But with that, in our conversations with Spectrum, it sounds like they will be doing away with the boxes. So that's something we'll be looking at probably in 2024. And as I discussed with Sarah, the very thing that you just said, make sure you get a cheap smart TV, and they are affordable, and they're decent quality.
Yeah, if you get a Samsung, you can load, the Spectrum
Yeah.
app can be loaded onto a Samsung. You can use the same remote. Otherwise, you'd have to buy some type of medium stick, a Roku or YouTube
Yep.
TV. I wouldn't do that. I would just get the Samsung
Correct,
TV and
with
then just
the
let
smart-
people, then
yep.
when the main menu comes up, they can just go to YouTube if there's, some show that they want to watch, or there's something that goes along with their workout, which there's a lot of that today. They talked about people that use tonals, the AV that's on there, 80% of people just stream something off of YouTube. So, while you get this, virtual, person that's doing your training, 80% of people just put on what they want.
Right.
And so I would go the same route with that. And like I said, these are things that can be done very cheaply. I think it would really modernize, make things look more up to date. It'd look better. Get rid of the boxes and the friggin' cables and just clean it up. And I just do the wireless. So just a thought, but also those vents too. I mean, I would clean. Let's get
Understood,
those
yeah.
cleaned up.
I was talking to another exercise member earlier this week with a similar concern, and as we talk about hiring extra staff, and we're bringing on that new maintenance 3 position, as we call it, that's in the budget, waiting for approval. No reason to think that it won't get approved. So this person would be a brand-new person to our maintenance staff. Would work 6 p.m. to midnight, split his or her time between the rec center and City Hall, so that we're able to get more cleaning done, it'll free daytime staff for projects. Long run, Brian and I feel like that's going to save us money, but, and these are good examples of why this person is needed. So either that person can do it, or it's going to free someone else to be able to do it too, so we can keep up better on that PM work, so, for sure. So thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Any other commission requests?
I got a couple things if no one else, do you have something, Todd?
No, I don't.
First, I'd like to announce that, as you see, I think most of you know, Melanie is not here. She did have her baby. She was a couple days late. I don't know, it's been a month now. But anyway, she had a baby girl, Jovi Lynette Giamarco, so Jovi Giamarco, which I think is a great name. So mom and baby seem to be doing well. Haven't had much contact with Melanie. I think some other people in the office have talked to her a little more than I have, but seem to be doing well. I know Mike, her husband's been busy because he hasn't shown up at all to play basketball with us, so I feel bad for him for that. But just wanted to make that announcement that Melanie had a baby girl. And then I have the rare nights where my children are supposedly watching me on television, so I'm going to give them a shout out. So I'll say hi to Cam and Laney, and I'll embarrass Mia because she'll be the one that'll be embarrassed.